The Pokemon manga is exactly what I wish the actual show was about. This was fast-paced, action-packed. It actually had a really entertaining and enjoyable story. The adventures that Red went on was fun. Team Rocket was actually like a villainous organization that had pretty intense motives and was willing to do anything to get there. If anyone has seen Pokemon Origins on YouTube, it's a great little collection of videos, follows a great story. This is quite similar, it gave me those same feelings. I just got done reading this, so I kind of want to give a little review about it as well as a summary of kind of what happened without really spoiling too much. Bottom line up front though, if you really enjoy Pokemon and you haven't read this, you really should. The first story actually is 3 books or 3 volumes. It consists of 40 chapters. This follows Red's adventure in obviously the Kanto region. Throughout his adventure, we meet people like Blue, the big rival, aka Gary. We also meet Green. Green's a fun character. She's definitely surprising and devious. Team Rocket is also much more evil in this, and they're willing to use their Pokemon to hurt actual people. Like there were a couple times trying to kill Red with their Pokemon, which is definitely something you wouldn't see in the actual show. I think in general though, this is a lot more maybe mature, or maybe self-aware is the word I want to use, as compared to the original show with Ash. Ash doesn't really ever complete his Pokedex or try to become a Pokemon master. I mean, he does, but it doesn't really feel that way in a sense. This whole book felt like Red was progressively going towards that goal, trying to be the best, but also literally collecting all the Pokemon. There's some pretty graphic parts in these books. In one of the chapters, Blue's Charmeleon cuts in half an Arbok, and it's kind of just lying there, which is kind of unexpected for a Pokemon story. There's a part in here where Koga, the member of the Elite Four, is like almost torture, or he implies that he's gonna torture Blue to like get to Professor Oak. There's definitely more graphic things in a sense, I guess is the best way to put it, which I like because I feel like, again, I'm kind of gonna compare it to the show. The show babied things way too much, and I didn't feel like it did the story justice. In these books, it doesn't overdo it, it just adds to it in my opinion. Without getting into too much detail, one of my favorite parts of this book was when they're in Saffron City fighting Team Rocket. Our heroes are faced with a big battle, and the battle's taking place in different sections of, or I guess different floors technically. It was a nice pacing to see, I guess, this battle evolve with our characters. The ending fight is kind of obvious with who faces who. There is a little twist though, which I did not see coming, which it wasn't like this intense twist, but it was just kind of cool to see. When we see Red fight in the final battle, it's a very good scene because the way that they kind of describe his character development from when he first got his Pokedex and his first Pokemon, and like the things he learned along the way in his journey and how he became like a better person, but it was happening within the fight. I thought that was pretty cool. I like what the story did with the gym leaders in this. They weren't just these trainers that hid away in their facilities and you go and you fight them. There's definitely a lot more depth to them. They all kind of have ulterior motives or goals, and they all have some sort of, or almost all of them have some sort of affiliation with Team Rocket, either working for or previously. Now that I'm looking back, when I played Pokemon Fire Red, I'm kind of seeing a whole different story that was in the game that I guess I never really saw before. Real quick too, they made Pikachu super cute in this. They drew him like a little stubby thing. I love the tiles where Pikachu was involved, and there's so many of them too. I do want to talk about some things I actually disliked about this. Again, I really did enjoy this, and it was my first go through, so I wasn't really expecting anything. I kind of just was like, hey, I love Pokemon, I should probably read this. So this right here is 40 chapters. It's about 3 books. And it took me like a week or so. This entire story covers Red getting his Pokedex and becoming the master. I just feel like there could have been more depth to this story. Like, I'm not saying I like fluffy stories either, but also this just felt like adventure, 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 adventure. Things, so many things are getting chopped out, like so many little side quests and like world building that I think I would have loved to see a little more. I'd rather have this than a fluffy story. But I do love Pokemon, so I would like to see more built upon within the story or the world. Comparing this to the Pokemon show dragged on. It felt like nothing was getting done each episode, and Team Rocket would come in every 2 seconds and interrupt. This was the complete opposite of that. This was all gas, no brakes. I feel like you can have a nice fast-paced adventure, get a lot done, but also take your time on some aspects of the world and kind of let your characters appreciate it, or like the world that they're in, and let the reader acknowledge that. Again, I'm not saying they did a bad job on this at all. I really enjoyed this, but I would love to see more of it. I know there's more books, but it doesn't follow necessarily the same characters. There's one fight towards the end of this, and I thought it was incredibly underwhelming. I felt like I missed something, and it shouldn't have been that easy of a fight for Red, but Red did it, and if you read it, you'll find out. Maybe it's just me, but to me, that fight should have been a little bit, or that battle should have been a lot more difficult, I guess. Again, not a deal breaker, just something worth noting. If you haven't read this already, I definitely highly recommend. This is what I wanted the Pokemon show to be, and unfortunately it wasn't that. Although I enjoyed the Pokemon show, I just wish it maybe had a different tone, maybe a little bit more, not even gonna say mature, just a more like realistic feel to it. I just feel like there was no sense of real danger. But yeah, if you have not read this already, you should definitely try reading it. It's a really easy read too. It's definitely not challenging. It's meant for kind of younger kids. Maybe it actually wasn't, not entirely sure, but I did really enjoy it. I will be reading the 4th to 6th book, which is the second book of the collector's edition. I guess the chapter is probably 40 to 80. I think that follows Yellow, but we'll see. Give her a little review on that as well. But yeah, thanks for watching. Pick up your copy. Let me know what you thought of it down below without spoiling stuff. See you later.